When I pressed play, I expected nothing. What I saw nearly sent me to the hospital. There was a red light blinking on the bookshelf that shouldn't have been blinking. I'd come home early from work that Thursday, just one of those I can't take another Zoom call kind of days, and I was halfway through changing out of my button-down when I noticed it. Subtle. Faint. One blink every few seconds. Almost invisible unless you were just the right angle. And I was. At first, I thought it was one of those charger bricks or maybe the corner of the TV power strip. But it wasn't plugged into anything. It was tucked behind one of her faux leather journals and an old copy of the bell jar. Right between dusty book spines sat a tiny black camera. Square. Barely larger than a thumbprint. Blinking. Recording. I froze. It wasn't mine. I'd never seen it before. And I'm damn sure it didn't belong to Leah. Leah, my girlfriend of 3 years. The woman I live with. The woman I just helped build IKEA shelves with 2 weeks ago. The woman who said she loved me every single morning before I left for work. So who the hell did it belong to? I didn't touch it at first. I just stood there, shirt half on, heart starting to sprint, trying to make sense of the moment. My mind went through the usual. Could Leah have installed it for security? No. Too well hidden. Could it be some creepy neighbor? Our windows are always closed. A prank? A joke? I moved closer. My hand trembled slightly as I picked it up. It was warm. This thing had been running for a while. There was a tiny micro SD slot on the side. No brand label. No wires. Just this eerie sense that our bedroom, our most private space, wasn't private at all. I didn't know what to do. Call the cops? Call Leah? Pretend I hadn't seen it? Instead, I slid the card out and plugged it into my laptop. When I pressed play, I expected static. Maybe some random footage of us sleeping. But what I saw nearly sent me to the hospital. The video started with Leah. She was folding laundry. Normal. Mundane. But then, a man walked into frame. Tall. Broad shoulders. Wearing a black hoodie and jeans. Not me. She didn't scream. She didn't panic. She smiled. I stared at the screen as he walked over and kissed her. Not a peck. Not friendly. Something deep. Familiar. I skipped forward. Now they were on the bed. Our bed. Clothes half off. Laughing. And then she said something that made my blood go cold. He won't be home for another 2 hours. That was our bed. My blanket. My side. I slammed the laptop shut. My lungs weren't working right. I stumbled into the bathroom and splashed cold water on my face, trying not to throw up. The betrayal was still fresh, raw, but then another layer hit me. That camera, it wasn't set up by accident. Someone had put it there on purpose. To record them. But who? It wasn't just a one-off hookup. That was planned. That was comfortable. And the scariest part? Leah didn't look like a victim. She looked complicit. When she came home that night, I didn't say a word. I couldn't. I was still trying to make sense of it. She was her usual self, breezy, humming some indie tune, dropping her purse on the couch, asking if I wanted Thai or sushi. I said Thai. I didn't even like Thai. All through dinner, I watched her. Every blink, every smile, every touch of her hand on her wine glass, like I was seeing her for the first time. And I noticed something. She kept checking her phone. Not obsessively. Not like she was hiding something, but enough that it made my gut twist. That night, I pretended to sleep. I watched her out of the corner of my eye. At 12:17 a.m. she got up. Quietly. Tiptoed out of the room. I waited 2 minutes. Then followed. She was in the living room, phone pressed to her ear, voice barely above a whisper. No. He hasn't said anything. I think we're still good. Silence. Then, don't worry. I deleted the files. My breath caught. She turned suddenly and saw me. Her eyes widened. Just for a second. Then she smiled, calm as ever. Couldn't sleep either, she said. I didn't answer. Because I wasn't looking at her anymore. I was looking past her. At the hallway. Where he was standing. And he was holding another camera. He wasn't surprised to see me. Just stood there, half-shadowed in the hallway like he'd been waiting. 6 feet tall, black hoodie, camera in hand. My stomach dropped. Leah turned, saw him, and panic cracked her face. What are you doing here? She hissed. Not to me. To him. He smiled. Thought I'd stop by. Leah, I said, stepping forward. Who is he? Her eyes darted. Her mouth opened, then closed. He's no one. Just go back to bed. No one's holding a camera in my hallway, I snapped. Try again. The guy stepped into the light, totally calm. Nice to finally meet you. Been watching for a while. That's when I lost it. I lunged. He moved just enough to avoid me like he expected it. Leah grabbed my arm. Stop please, it's not what you think. Really? Because it looks like you're cheating on me and filming it. Her voice cracked. It started with one night, 6 months ago. He's my ex. He showed up while you were away and God, I didn't mean to, it just happened. I stared at her. One mistake doesn't turn into 6 months. He recorded it, she whispered. Said he'd show you if I didn't keep seeing him. I turned to him. Blackmail? He shrugged. I gave her choices. She made hers. You're disgusting. He just smiled like he was watching a show. You should see what she's done for me on camera. That hit harder than any punch. Leah looked away, shaking. I noticed the tattoo on his wrist. Simple lines. Familiar. Wait, I've seen you before. I looked at Leah. That video you showed me last month, some guy who makes music. She didn't deny it. I stepped forward, grabbed the camera from his hand. He let it go easily, like he wanted me to see. Inside, a memory card. I shoved it into my laptop. Leah gasped, don't. Too late. The footage wasn't of them. It was me. Asleep in bed. The camera angle hidden in the closet. Night vision. Dated 2 nights ago. At the 3-minute mark, the door opened. Leah entered. Colin followed. They stood over me, just staring. Then Colin leaned in and whispered he has no idea. Leah didn't respond. Just stared like she didn't even recognize me. I slammed the laptop shut. My chest burned. You recorded me? I said. Colin looked smug. You're part of the story. I'm calling the cops, I growled. No point, he said, pulling out his phone. You really want this played in a courtroom? He tapped a file. Audio played. My voice. I'm scared I'm not enough for her. Sometimes I think she's pretending. I froze. That was from a therapy call. A private Zoom I took in my car. I never told anyone. You bugged me? Careful, he said. That's slander. Leah broke. I didn't know about that. I swear. I looked at her. Hard. You let him in. Again. And again. You brought this into our home. Our bed. Tears filled her eyes. He said it was the last time. How many last times were there? No answer. I walked out. Took nothing but the memory card and my laptop. But the next morning I got an email. No sender. No subject. Just a file, bedroom_12c_master.mp4. And what I saw proved Leah hadn't just been cheating. She'd been lying about something even worse. Something that made me question whether I ever really knew her at all. The file was exactly 13 minutes and 24 seconds long. I hovered over it for a solid minute before pressing play. I don't know what I expected, maybe more of what I'd already seen. But this wasn't a sex tape. It was a conversation. The camera was hidden, same angle as the other's closet, night vision, timestamp 2 weeks ago. Leah and Colin were on the bed, fully dressed. She looked anxious. He looked triumphant. You said you deleted the backups, she said. I said I would, Colin replied. After this one. You said that last time. I lied. She laughed bitterly, rubbed her face. This is insane. What's insane is how easy it was, he said, leaning back on the pillows, my pillows. He really has no idea, huh? Not yet. Then came the line that made my stomach bottom out. I can't keep drugging him, Leah said. He's starting to notice. Drugging me? She said it so casually, like she was talking about overfeeding a goldfish. Colin just grinned. A little melatonin, some crushed Ativan, he sleeps like a baby. We need the silence. For clean audio. I paused the video. Rewound. She said it. She really said it. They'd been drugging me. To keep me unconscious. To record me. I felt sick. I let the video keep playing. Colin pulled out a folder. Tossed it on the bed. Once this deal goes through, you'll have what you need. Leah looked inside. Are you sure this is enough? I've sold dumber scripts for more, he said. True crime is hot right now. The perfect lie, it even sounds like Netflix. Leah hesitated. You really think they'll buy it? Colin leaned in. You play the sympathetic partner, the twist villain. We blur his face. Say it was all performance art. No one checks deeper. That's when it clicked. This wasn't just infidelity. This was a setup. A scripted betrayal filmed in our real home with me as the unsuspecting character. They weren't just cheating on me, they were producing me. They were turning my life into content. The camera, the audio, the night vision, my therapy session. They weren't collecting blackmail, they were building a show. Leah's voice dropped to a whisper. And if he finds out? He won't, Colin said. He's too trusting. That's what makes it work. The video cut out. My hands were shaking. This wasn't about love, or lust, or even revenge. It was ambition. They were trying to sell my life as entertainment. And I hadn't even known I was on stage. I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I opened my laptop and started backing everything up. All the files. The audio. The footage. The emails. I pulled metadata. Timestamps. Synced cloud records. I contacted a lawyer the next morning. Told him I had evidence of covert surveillance, blackmail, drugging, and intellectual property theft. He asked me one question. Do you want to press charges or make them pay? I didn't answer yet, because there was still one thing I needed to know. One final lie I hadn't confirmed. I texted Leah, we need to talk. In person. No games. She responded instantly, I'll be home at 6. She still thought I didn't know everything. Perfect. At 5:59, I sat in the living room. Memory card in my pocket. Phone recording. Door unlocked. She walked in at 6:02. Hair perfect. Smile rehearsed. Like she still thought she could control the narrative. I just looked at her and asked one question. How long were you planning to use me? And the way her face changed, panic, guilt, then cold resolve, that was the real answer. She didn't deny it. Not at first. She just stood there in the doorway, her keys still in hand, the door still half open behind her. And for the first time in 3 years, Leah looked exactly like the stranger she'd become. I repeated it, slower this time. How long were you planning to use me? She stepped inside, closed the door, set the keys down like it was any normal Thursday evening. Can we sit down? No, I said. We're done playing comfortable. She let out a breath, walked toward the couch, sat anyway. I didn't move. I just stood there, phone in my pocket recording, watching her like she was about to detonate. I wasn't trying to hurt you, she said. Stop. Don't start there. Her lips twitched like she wanted to cry, but nothing came out. It wasn't supposed to go that far. Colin showed up out of nowhere. I thought I was just helping him with a pitch. Filming yourself cheating is helping? No, she caught herself, hands shaking. At first it was just supposed to be a concept. You weren't even supposed to be in it. He told me he'd use actors, recreate everything, just based on true events stuff. But then he said raw footage would sell better. Real footage. Unscripted. And you said yes. She nodded. Like that wasn't monstrous. I didn't know how to stop it, she whispered. Every time I wanted to pull out, he'd threatened to expose everything. Said I'd go down for illegal surveillance. That you'd never forgive me. That I'd lose my job, my friends, everything. So instead you let it ride. Lied to my face. Slept next to me every night while you recorded me like a damn science experiment. Her jaw clenched. I didn't want to lose you. You lost me the second you hit record. Silence. I walked over to the coffee table, set down a flash drive. What's that? She asked, voice small. Every file I've collected. Video. Audio. Metadata. Copies of what Colin stored on his cloud before he wiped it. Her eyes widened. I'm pressing charges, Leah. No, please, she stood up, voice cracking. You don't know what he's capable of. He'll drag you into this too. He already did, I said. But I'm dragging him into a courtroom. She looked down. There's something else. My chest tightened. Of course there is. She walked over to the bookshelf. Reached behind the third shelf, the one where I first found the camera. Pulled out a small velvet pouch. She held it out to me. Inside was a tiny thumb drive. This one's not in the cloud, she said. He gave it to me in case I wanted to remember how deep I was in. It's insurance. I stared at it. You kept it. I couldn't delete it. Not until I was sure what I was going to do. And what were you going to do, Leah? Marry me? Keep recording? Sell my breakdown to Hulu? No, her voice cracked. I was going to tell you. Tonight. I laughed sharp, bitter. Convenient. Then she said the one thing that knocked the wind out of me. I'm pregnant. The room froze. My heart stopped. I stared at her, trying to parse the words, trying to believe I'd misheard. She nodded, slow. I found out last week. And it's mine. Tears welled up. I don't know. Of course she didn't. I sank into the chair, hands trembling. I didn't plan this, she whispered. No, I said. You produced it. She opened her mouth, but I held up a hand. I don't care what happens next between us. But I promise you this, Leah, Colin's going down. And if you're smart, you'll help me bury him. Her eyes locked with mine. And for once, she didn't lie. I didn't sleep that night. Leah passed out on the couch after sobbing into her sleeve, but I just sat there, staring at that thumb drive on the coffee table like it might explode. Pregnant. Not sure whose it was. Filming me. Selling it. I'd crossed into territory where pain wasn't even pain anymore, it was math. Cold equations of betrayal, intent, and risk. And somewhere in that mess, I had to do the one thing no one else had done in this story, think clearly. The next morning, I walked into the law office of Jennifer Coe, digital crimes specialist. She didn't blink twice when I laid it out. Illegal surveillance, coerced recordings, IP theft, audio taps, unauthorized distribution, and now blackmail. What do you want? She asked. Justice, I said. She smiled faintly. That's vague. Be specific. I pulled out the thumb drive. I want him exposed. Not just arrested, I want his name torched. I want every network to see what he did. I want to own this narrative before they sell it. She nodded slowly. Then we don't just go legal. We go strategic. Within 48 hours, she'd secured a forensic tech team to verify the footage, metadata, and timelines. We sent cease and desist letters to Colin's personal domains, social media, and most critically, his pitch portal, a subscription-based true crime site masquerading as a creative incubator. Leah cooperated mostly. She gave a written statement and handed over old text messages, call logs, voice notes. But her usefulness wasn't enough to erase what she did. Still, Jennifer was clear, if we position her as a manipulated partner, she might get immunity. Especially if she gives us everything. That afternoon, I met with Colin. At a diner, public place. My lawyer insisted on a silent witness, a security expert with a body cam across the street. Colin walked in wearing sunglasses. Hoodie zipped to his chin. I didn't flinch. Cute meeting spot, he said, sliding into the booth. What's the occasion? You selling your own footage now? I pushed a document across the table. It's over. You're done. He didn't even look at it. Just sipped his coffee. Nah. You're bluffing. Nope. I've got a lawyer, a digital audit, and 6 platforms already flagged your uploads. I've got metadata. Testimonies. Hell, I've even got Leah. That one made him blink. She flipped, he said. She buried you. He leaned back, forced a chuckle. You really think they'll care? You're just a name in a story. No one roots for the victim, man. They click for the twist. I leaned in. Then here's your twist. I leaked the story already. But not your version, mine. His face darkened. Reddit, Twitter, TikTok. A thread's already viral. I found a hidden camera in our bedroom and it wasn't mine or hers. It's got screenshots, audio bites, blurred faces, and a slow drip of confession. I didn't need a network, Colin. I needed the truth to spread. He stood up. You just declared war. No, I said. I want it. That night, the story hit 3.2 million views. The next day, a DM from a journalist. The day after that, Colin's website went offline. 3 cease and desists turned into a criminal complaint. And then the bomb dropped. Someone anonymously leaked Colin's unedited raw files to the press. Every video, every name, including his own face. He couldn't spin it. He couldn't sell it. He couldn't run. And Leah? She moved out the next week. No goodbye. Just a note. I'm sorry. I really did love you once. I just forgot what that meant. But the ending wasn't hers to write anymore. That was my job now. 3 weeks after the story broke, I stood in the back of a crowded community hall, watching Colin Green's face stutter across a local news broadcast. Facing multiple counts of unlawful surveillance, unauthorized distribution of private materials, and 1 count of felony coercion. The footage behind the anchor showed a blurred still of our bedroom. My bedroom. It felt surreal seeing it projected behind some bored-looking news anchor like it was just another crime of the week story. But this wasn't fiction. This was my life sliced, recorded, exploited. And now? It was evidence. Leah's testimony had been critical. Her lawyer negotiated immunity in exchange for full cooperation. She handed over a Dropbox folder with over 60 gigabytes of raw footage Colin had stored off-site. Emails, draft scripts, distribution contracts, even fake NDAs with forged signatures including mine. Colin tried to play the visionary artist angle. Didn't work. Turns out even streaming platforms have lines they won't cross when a guy is caught drugging someone on tape. He was denied bail. Public backlash had already scorched any bridge he might have walked back on. Every one of his accounts was nuked. Former collaborators fled like rats from a burning ship. But justice wasn't a storybook ending. It was messy, quiet, full of paperwork and weird phone calls from people who just wanted to hear more for their podcast. I turned all of them down. Except one. A journalist, Natalie Krim. She was different, careful, patient. She didn't want drama. She wanted the truth. And she told it. Her article dropped 6 days after Colin's arraignment, The Man in the Closet, How a Filmmaker Turned a Relationship into a Nightmare. It went viral. Again. But this time, the sympathy was mine. The world saw what happened not as some crazy cheating story, but as a digital crime. An assault on privacy. A warning. And in that quiet wave of support, something healed. I wasn't the villain. I wasn't the joke. I was the one who fought back. I stayed off social media for a while. Let the chaos pass. Read the emails from strangers, the apologies from friends who hadn't reached out sooner. I even got one from Leah's sister. Just 3 words. You didn't deserve it. No, I didn't. And as for Leah, she disappeared. Last I heard, she moved out west. Quiet job, low profile. Pregnant, maybe, maybe not. I don't know if the baby was mine. She never followed up, and I never asked, because some answers don't matter anymore. I changed the locks, donated the bookshelf, sold the bed, and one night I set up a camera, my own, pointed it at me, I hit record. Hi, my name's Jordan, and 3 months ago, I found a hidden camera in my bedroom that wasn't mine or hers. It was his, and what it captured nearly destroyed me. That video, it reached over 5 million views in 2 weeks. Not because it was dramatic, but because it was true. And this time, I owned the story, every frame of it.